Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm going to try to actually do a how to throw my pitches video, which I didn't think I'd be doing 3 months after I started. I think we're pretty close to an anniversary. Um, there are much better videos that you could be watching. Jack Doyle and Jimmy Norp, in particular, are two people that, if you're really serious about getting into wiffle ball pitching, they're the ones to watch. Jimmy Norp does a lot of stuff with Major League Wiffle Ball. I think he has his own YouTube channel. And then Jack Doyle is with We Got Ice. He's also with John Boy Media and does all the warehouse games kind of stuff. Um, but, and most of the base foundational stuff for pitching, I got from Jack Doyle's little instructional video thing. But the thing with, especially like pro level guys, is it's kind of like when you read a pro, like a professional writer, and sometimes, or someone that's really, really masterful on the topic, they tend to forget that there are a lot of people that aren't masterful on the topic. And so you tend to get lost in things. So what I'm hoping with this video is I'm going to try to give you a person that's still technically beginning, um, their perspective on the process and the journey you're probably going to go through. Plus, I don't use a single pitch grip that Jack Doyle uses, even though I tried to use them. It didn't work for me. And that's the thing about pitching in general. You know, even with baseballs, I've seen so many different circle changeup grips. I've seen so many different two-seam grips and slider grips. The whole point of it is experiment, have fun with it. You just know you're going to throw some really wonky, janky pitches. But eventually, when you find the grip that works and you get it to do what you want it to do, it's a fucking amazing feeling. So the first thing to make it as simple as possible is to understand the dynamics of a wiffle ball, especially if you're like literally getting brand new into this. A true wiffle ball is not the one with all the holes in it, like a pickleball. Those are terrible. A true wiffle ball is going to have, how many holes are there? 8 slots on half the ball, and the other half of the ball is going to be solid. And one thing that is always recommended with these, and you can kind of see it. I have to rescuff them again. They tend to, there we go. You want to scuff the upper portion of the ball with the slots and not this lower portion, which I messed up on with all my other ones. But makes a huge difference in terms of the amount of curve and movement you get if you scuff up this upper side. It also offers a bit of grip too, but that's like one of the first things you ought to do. Use a knife, use a file, use whatever you can, but just scuff it up as much as you can on that one side. I don't know if it makes a huge difference if you do scuff up the other side, but supposedly you're only supposed to do the one half of the side. Now, the holes are going to be basically your friend to this whole process. A blitz ball, despite the fact that you can throw it harder, and if you don't know what a blitz ball is, I happen to have one. This is the modern day wiffle ball. You can throw it faster, you can curve it more, but this thing is actually pretty goddamn hard to throw because you have to actually, your grip is way more important with this one because you have to apply so much spin to get it to do the correct thing. So watch, I'll end up missing wide. But like, because there's hexagonal sides to it all, but there's no seam. I mean, there's this wonky seam, but there's no holes to use as a guide point. So I think the wiffle ball is so much easier to throw. You're gonna see today, there's a lot of different movements I can throw with a wiffle ball. I can occasionally throw a slider that's more like a cutter. I can throw a curveball. Occasionally I can throw a 2-seam sinker thing and then a fastball, and that's it. I mean, I can't rise it because I just personally can't get the motion to do it. But you literally have to throw it straight down with so much backspin that it comes back up. I physically can't do it. Whereas with a wiffle ball, you can rise it without having to be able to throw over the top straight down. But let's see if I can just curve it real quick. Oh, and I sent it over the fence. It's a good start. I haven't warmed up yet. I'm literally just going to go right in this because I may or may not get kicked off this field. I don't know. So with this one, it's all about, there's spin, obviously, that is important with this. but it's all about how the holes are situated. So easiest way to think about it is whatever side the solid part is facing, the ball will go. So if I throw this like this with the correct spin, it'll go up. If I do it like this, it's going to go down. This is going to go across. This is going to go this way. And then you can adjust it however you need to, depending on your arm slots and all that stuff. The only oddball ones is your straight ball is actually going to be thrown with the seams like this, tumbling over the top. And then your curve ball, I'm sorry, it's going to go this way. And then your curve ball, at least my curve ball, is going to have topspin rotation as opposed to backspin rotation, which is what you're doing for the majority of your pitches. Arm slide is important for a lot of these ones. And then, like I said, the way you grip the ball. And so I'm going to show you from as much as I can remember, like what Jack Doyle's grips are, because his are kind of like the standard. And I'll even show you what it looks like when I try to throw them. And then I'll show you my grips. But again, experiment, try different things because everyone's different. Most of these guys have long, flexible fingers, and they got their I mean, I have no range of motion. I can't even get this damn thing to go like this. I can't get my arm to go that far back. The key thing is know your limitations and just work on perfecting those, you know? Like, you have so many of these pitchers nowadays that have two pitches, especially closers. They have a freaking 100,000-mile-an-hour fastball, which I don't, and a slider, and they make a living off of that. You don't have to be Yu Darvish and have 8 quadrillion pitches. If you do, hey, that's awesome. And if you don't, I can't throw a fastball all that fast, in my opinion. Although occasionally in the zone camera, it looks pretty damn good. It ain't that fast, especially compared to professional guys. But I think I have enough movement and I can do enough offset timing that I'd be more Nestor Cortez, Johnny Cueto-ish kind of stuff. I think that would be the approach I'd have to do. But it also depends on your batter, the batters you're facing, and all that. Just don't go beyond what you can do, because then you can get really frustrated real quick. If something's not working, step away from it. Focus on what does work. Otherwise, you'll get frustrated and then you'll burn yourself out. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I think that's everything I needed to talk about as far as that's how the ball works. So first off, the first pitch that I actually learned, so a lot of people learn the slider first. That's kind of the first pitch most people get, which is kind of silly because a fastball should be. There's not a whole lot to it, but it was kind of hard to figure out how to throw the fastball. And so, again, you want to have, I grip it with like almost a split finger. So I use 3 slots, but I'm pretty sure you could just get away with doing 2 slots. And then you're just throwing it over the top. But you want the ball to tumble like this. And so it's going to fight against the force of gravity and it'll go straight and all that stuff. I don't really know no one really throws a straight fastball in wiffle ball, which is weird. Like, there's so many other curves and movement and stuff. Like, why wouldn't you occasionally just want to throw a straight? That's part of it too, is there's a speed limit in a lot of these like higher up ones. You can't throw a certain speed, and I think if they were gassing it, they would, hit it and then some. But yeah, I'm going to start with this one because it's the most basic. Like I said, I grip it with the split finger grip, and I use the 3 slots, but I'll try throwing a couple with 2 slots and just see what happens. So have I even been recording? Okay. Kind of just had a brain fart there. But let me go and turn on the zone cam. Really wish I didn't wear the war stick hat now. Although that breeze feels kind of good. Just gonna make sure my camera doesn't fall over. Okay, warm-ups. So we'll start with the 2 seam. Grab some more bullets. And again, you can throw this from pretty much any arm slot because you're still just trying to get a straight motion. So it shouldn't affect your movement at all, with this one. So make sure that I'm lined up. There's my hole. All right, so 2 slots. That's a good start. Again, no warm-ups. We're just going right into this. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to do the 3 slot one, which is what I prefer to use. Does it make a difference? Probably not. But for whatever reason, I feel like I'm getting a bit more power off of this, which doesn't make any sense. I should be getting less power. Oh, nice pitch. Good. Oh, nice pitch. Good corner spot. But do what's comfortable. I've had to train my fingers for the last like 2 months to get them to be spread out enough just to do that. But for those people with bigger hands, I mean, you could probably do like 4 slots. Dude, another one. Whew. And last one. I'm not going to use the red ones because that's kind of a whole different situation. But those red ones that I got are dense wiffle balls. And so they, oops, sorry about that. And so they fly. Okay. So that's your straight ball, straight fastball. So the next one is, it's always nice to have one in your arsenal, a changeup. And so I use a circle changeup. I use the circle changeup grip for a lot, but I'm going to use my middle finger and my ring finger, place them on, I can't get my arm to even turn that way, on 2 slots. My pointer finger is going to sit right along where the wiffle ball kind of splits. My thumb is kind of just off doing its own thing. And my pinky's up on the other side, kind of doing the same thing. So it's going to look a bit like this. And same thing, you're just throwing it with your normal motion. What this thing will do, because it's a circle changeup grip, I don't know how to throw a normal changeup grip. There's all kind, I mean, you can palm the ball. We'll try towards the end to do a knuckleball, but I really can't throw a knuckleball. But with the circle changeup, what you're going to end up getting, I've noticed, and that's supposed to be the case with a circle changeup, is you're going to have just slight inward tail on a righty batter and away on a lefty batter. But you'll have just the slightest bit. It's not going to be like the sinker or the drop or anything like that, but you'll have a little bit of movement. But the idea is you're throwing this with the same fastball motion, but this is going to go a bit slower than your fastball, and it's just a timing situation thing. So we'll throw a bunch of these. And I recommend the one habit that I have, especially with my sinker, my 2-seam sinker one, is you can get too deep in the hand and then you'll end up spiking it. So if you are spiking it a bunch of times, loosen up your grip just a little bit and see if that helps. Oh, that one actually dropped. So I turned my hand over. And so just try to be aware of it. I know it's hard to see. And so one thing you can do as a training thing, it's really worn out now, but I actually took a Sharpie and marked, outlined each of the slots. And that way you can kind of see the rotation. And just keep an eye on that when you're throwing, and it'll tell you what you're either doing right or doing wrong. So in that one, when I threw it, I must have turned my hand this way. Sorry. I must have turned my hand this way when I went to throw, like this. And so it ended up coming out like that. And so that's where the drop was, which is pretty cool. But that's not what I thought it was going to do, which that'll happen a lot. You'll throw these pitches and be like, these were amazing. I have no idea how I did it. That definitely slowed up. Yeah, it's acting more like a light drop today, which is weird, but that's kind of cool. See, every time I come out here, I never know what's gonna happen. Over grip. That's what's gonna happen. You'll spike it or you'll send it that direction. And then if you loosen your grip too much, you're gonna end up sailing it that way. We almost hit the camera. Oh, that was a nice pitch. That finally went and tailed in a little bit. Let's go with the slider. All right, time for the slider. So I'm gonna try to do the Doyle grip first. So the Doyle grip, the one most people use, is you're gonna rest your finger right on the split seam right there. We'll just call it the split seam where the two pieces are put together. So your pointer finger is gonna rest right on top. Your middle finger is gonna sit right on the top of the little mini circle on the inside, like that. Ring finger is kind of sitting on the bottom part of that, and then use the thumb, hold it in place. So it's going to kind of look like this. And you really want to make sure that when you release it, it's snapping off your pointer finger and you're getting this motion. Well, you're getting this motion. That's the logic behind it. But again, I don't throw it that well that way for whatever reason, but I'll try it right here. See what happens. Yep, that's exactly what it would do to start. If you throw and part of your middle finger is with it to the end, as opposed to this thing going completely like that, it's not going to go where you need it to go, because then it ends up tumbling out. Try one more. Yep. So for me, I was fiddling around and I was really into split finger gripping. And so what I do instead of that is I split finger. I keep the middle finger in the same spot, but I slid my pointer finger over. And so now I have like a split finger grip. And my ring finger is actually not even on it. I'm literally just using 3 fingers to go and throw this thing. And if I come over like this, I'm going to get pretty flat braking action. If I come over like this, it's actually going to rise up, which is pretty effective if you want to try to tunnel a slider coming down in a way and then a slider going up in a way. But just keep in mind how your arm slot is. That ball's either going to jet up or it's going to go downward. Let's see if I can throw this correctly. It's hit or miss sometimes with this. There should be a massive difference compared to those. Nope. There we go. That's your flat slider. Kind of like a sweeper almost. That's going to rise up more. Wow, that came out of my hand fast. I want to get one that has a little more dip to it. Oh, that's another one of those ones. Those are so cool. Okay, so that's one grip that I have. I have a second grip that I worked on just recently And that one kind of does, I doubt I'll pull it off, but does something pretty cool occasionally. So rather than doing the split finger grip like that, I'm going to have my middle finger on the halfway seam. My ring finger is going to sit on the top of that little half circle, and then my pointer finger is kind of the one that's holding the ball in place. And so it's like that circle changeup grip. And then I'm going to go and throw it same way I would throw my slider. And what I've seen it do occasionally, I think this is more of a looping, slower slider than how my split finger is. But I've actually gotten it to, it curves and then it sort of just dies and falls in. So it's like a sweeping curveball with a drop at the end. It's really cool, and I was able to nail the top of the zone, but I have no idea how the hell I pulled that off. May happen, may not. Just keep in mind that this one can get a little out of hand real quick, and then if you drop your arm too much, then the thing is going to rise for days, which is going to be our next pitch that we do. So here we go. The circle change-up-y, kind of sweeping slider-ish slurve thing that I throw. That actually ended up being more like a slider than the original ones. There we go. Oh yeah. One thing to note, and then that the fastball and the circle changeup, just throw it at the target. Because of how much these things can curve, and it's going to feel really bizarre. I mean, I have no baseball pitching experience, and it still felt bizarre. But you can imagine as a baseball pitcher, you're trying to hit your targets within a zone, you know? You actually have to try to throw this. I don't know how well situated the water bottle on that bleacher is, but essentially I'm trying to throw at that water bottle and then having it curved in. So you almost want to throw at like the backside of the batter, if it's a right-handed batter, to get it to come in. Or throw it at the batter if you want to try to hit the inner portion of the plate, or have it really run in on the lefty batter. But that's something to consider, is you really got to get used to, and the riser is really funky and weird. But yeah, you almost, when you're going to throw, you almost have to start here to have it come in. And then the sinker two seam, you actually have to come over and in, which is even more bizarro feeling. At least for me it was. But something to keep in mind. Oh, see, I didn't throw it far enough. I also think I got more spin on that, which is why it had more movement. And that's going to be the thing. The more spin you get, the more movement you're going to get. My two seam is nothing like Jimmy's and Jack's, and a lot of the actual good wiffle ballers. And these guys are throwing drops that are way the hell up here. Sinkers and two seams way outside. My slider is pretty close to being the correct movement. It's just not nearly as fast. But more spin you get, the more movement you're going to get. So keep that in mind. That one's kind of dangerous. It hung up there. Oh, that one was one of those riser ones. One more for good measure. Oh, and it's a nice ball too. The game ball. Ah. Okay. On to the riser. One of the signature pitches of wiffle ball. Okay. This is one that I've had to figure out and then refigure out. So, I believe, if I remember correctly, the grip is going to be basically the same as if you're trying to throw the slider. So that same, the Jack Doyle grip. But you're trying to skip a rock. I mean, that's the best way to explain it, is you're turning your hand over, you're coming in sidearm. I mean, he actually gets, I've seen him get down onto one knee when he goes to throw. My knees can't handle that. So again, know your limitations. But you're trying to skip a rock, you're getting this rotation and it should rise up. I'll try to throw it like him, but it never worked for me. I would always tumble over. See, I pronate too much with that grip. So what I initially did, I went with my split finger grip. I was working on my sliders, and I think I got lazy and sidearmed that bitch, and it rose. I don't think, so it worked great for the longest time, but I was sailing it, and that's going to be the next thing I talk about. But all of a sudden one day, couldn't do it anymore. No matter how hard I tried, I was all yipped up. Could not get it to rise. And so then I ended up finding the grip that I use now, but I'll see if I can do it with this. Nope. Same thing, I pronate over. So then I realized, well, this is pretty easy to try to throw that like slurving, sweeping curve. Let me try to just throw it down like this. Same thing, it's like you're skipping a rock. So you're using that same grip we just did, that circle change up. Don't keep it too firm in the hand, you know, just kind of like that. Nice and easy. It's not going anywhere, but it's not way in my palm. And we're just trying to skip a rock. If you've never skipped a rock before, YouTube it. But you're just trying to skip a rock. I mean, to be fair, I don't really know if I've ever skipped a rock. I know what skipping a rock is, but I don't know if I've ever had an opportunity to skip a rock. I lived near a creek for 35 years, but we were also in the middle of a drought, so it was never full until the last 2 years. And even then, it's kind of frowned upon to throw rocks when there's wildlife around. So anyways, so you're just trying to skip it. Not a hard part, and I'm sure you'll do it on your first couple tries. Once you get it down, is you're going to try to throw it at the zone and it's going to fly up and over. That's not terribly bad depending on where it rises up, because then you can get some freaking whoofs. Kind of similar to a riser in fast pitch. But the fun one is to be able to throw it down so it's almost here and then it rises up and hits the bottom of the zone. That's pretty filthy. And so you almost have to, I'm 43 feet. I'm supposed to be the distance that Major League Wiffleball does, but there's so many different distances and stuff. So I would choose somewhere between 43 and 45 to start, or you can even start at 40. But 43 to 45 seems like a happy medium. Blitzball is supposed to be 50 feet, and I get that with a blitzball. But this has kind of been the range I've been going with since. So that's just my personal preference. But just note, if you're really seriously getting into this and you want to play in like a league, find out the distance, because it's different everywhere, which is kind of annoying actually. And then I've seen targets like Major League Wiffle Ball, I think, uses a bigger target than this. It's almost like they're using a blitzball target, which is much bigger than a wiffle ball. Anyways, I'm gonna, when I pitch this, I actually want to throw this thing about 10 feet to the ground, like in front of me. And if I do it correctly, it should rise up into the zone. If I do it wrong, I'm either gonna spike it or I'm gonna send it over the fence. But here we go. Let's see if I can throw these today. I was throwing them like God tier the other day. That one actually kind of tumbled, so that wasn't actually a very good one. Okay, so that one's an overthrow. That actually ended up rising way more than I was expecting it to. I don't think I really threw it in a bad area. I tumbled again. I'm trying too hard to make sure I hit the zone. I actually like this as a chase pitch more than a zone pitch. I want to see if I can at least hit one for you guys. See, I like that. That's up, and that's a swing through. There was a lot of churches in Fremont, but there's a lot of churches per square mile, whatever, out here. Okay, let's throw a couple more and see if I can do this correctly. Ooh, almost just killed the batter. Oh, shit. That kind of almost was starting to do what I wanted it to do. It's not going to rise nearly as much, and it just tickles the bottom of the zone. Okay, maybe it's not going to happen. I got 3 more. What the hell? Why not? So I'm not upset by these. I like these. Again, it all depends on where in the plane it's rising up. If it's rising up just before the plate, that's awesome. If it's rising up after the zone, then that really doesn't do much of anything, and that can end up getting pummeled. Uno más. Uno más. Oh, wow. But you get the idea. That's your riser. Okay, time to flip the slots and do what could technically be the nastiest looking pitch that I have. So the sinker is the same concept as your slider, but now we've flipped the holes to this side. And if you want to do the jack, I can't even do it. It's so much harder to do it on this side for me because now I don't have space for my finger to go on this side because of the slots. You really don't want to cover up the slots too much. But this is kind of, I can't even do it. I don't even know if I learned how to do a 2-seam from Jack now that I think about it. But so what I do is a circle change of grip. I've got my pointer finger right there on the little mini circle. My middle finger is up on the top. Everything else is kind of just sitting right there. And then my thumb is literally not doing anything. And I noticed the other day, if I got to go with the looser grip. And if you do this correctly, again, this is coming towards you as a batter. This thing is going to snap back inward. It's wicked, and it's one of the faster pitches that I throw, at least when I look on the camera. It sucks that I still haven't been able to really throw at a person yet to get their feedback. But on the camera, this thing snaps back. It's not big movement like the slider, but it's really tight and narrow. It's more like a legitimate sinker or 2-seam or whatnot. If I get straight over the top, it'll 2-seam. It'll come more flat. But normally what mine do, or when I come to throw it more like a 3/4-ish thing. And so it's going to come and then drop inward like a sinker. And then if you, well, we'll do that one next. But that's what you're looking for. And like I mentioned, when you throw this thing, you really have to exaggerate coming across your body, releasing, and then this thing will jet back. Okay, so when you're going to pitch, you want to come this way and then drop back. So really put your hip into it and have your hip lined up probably about a foot or so outside of the zone. I've learned with me, about 1.5 feet out the zone, I'm able to get it inward. Usually. So here we go. Let's see how this goes. Oh, nice first one. First one. That was mean. That one came inside. That would have handcuffed. That could have been firewood right there. I don't know if they still sell it on there, but if you want to get your firewood merch, go to momentum.com. Oh, see, I do that every now and then. I have no idea why it does that, but it goes this direction. So I'm releasing it wrong, but I don't know why it does that. But I always do at least one of those a session when I'm trying to practice this. Holy crap, I did 2 in a row. Why am I doing that? I must be releasing it and it's tumbling. Maybe that's what I'm doing. All right, sober up, Alex. Okay, it's all right. More sink than two seam. Whoa. There we go. There we go. And these will look so much better on the zone cam than they will on this one. Trust me, that first one I threw had all the right movement. Yeah, there we go. Nasty pitch. Again, you'll get more power or more speed off of it than you realize when you're throwing it. But for me, at least, the cross your body throw takes a little time to get used to. Okay, and then the other one is the drop. So this is going to be less horizontal break and obviously more vertical break. And the concept for throwing this is the same and the opposite of the riser. So same grip as what we've just been doing, but you're coming in sidearm, and you want the smaller circle to be facing up with the spin. And what it'll do is it'll come up and then just drop straight down, in theory. Now, again, pro guys will get this thing to come up and then drop in. It's pretty amazing. But mine will get, if I throw it correctly, I'll get maybe like 3 feet of drop. But it's not a pitch I work on enough, just because I was able to throw it for a bit, and then all of a sudden I forgot how to do it. And so I just recently kind of rediscovered it again. So let's see if I can pull one off. Again, you're coming in more with that sidearm, but instead of trying to throw it down, we're trying to throw this thing up. So that bar that's actually running across the top of the zone on the fence, that's pretty much where I'm aiming at. Again, in theory. There we go. So see how that had more vertical break as opposed to horizontal. So see how that had more vertical break as opposed to horizontal. That was clean. That had like a foot of break, but that was clean. There's a low one, which I like that too if you're trying to chase low. And that's the thing, when you start getting comfortable with these, is start getting used to, okay, if I throw it like this, my curveball is going to be a great example of that. If I throw it here, I can get a drop in front of the box, or I can get cheeky, try to throw it high and have it hit the top of the zone. But you can tunnel this. I mean, you could literally throw this thing and this thing alone, but if you're confident that you can work the deep part of the zone versus in front of the plate, you could technically get away with it. It's nice having side-to-side movement. You really don't want to stick with one vertice, you know? Is it vertice? I don't know. I'm not a math person. Yeah, this is nice. When I throw it like that, it acts like a split finger fastball, like a legitimate split finger fastball, which is pretty cool. Let's see if I can get one back up in the zone, though. Tumbled my hand. And I threw it like that. Like I was trying to soccer toss it. I was supposed to have soccer practice today, but the kids are in camping, so that's why I'm here. Plus, I haven't thrown in like a week. Get it up. I mean, I don't hate these, but get it up. God, this hat does not breathe at all. I'm like way out of this. I keep shifting away from my old hole. That's what she said? I don't know about that. Oh, that was pretty gross. In a bad way. Everything about that felt wrong. But that would be your drop. Okay? So again, you have the sinker two seam is more horizontal. Your two seam is going to be a horizontal movement. Your sinker will have diagonal movement. And then your drop is going to be your vertical movement. It all depends on your arm slots. Okay, we are on to the first pitch that I was actually technically able to throw, and I was able to throw it right off the bat. I threw this when we were playing shitty wiffle stickball way back in the day. Oh, it's the whistle guy. So unlike all these pitches we've been throwing so far where we want the Magnus effect with the backspin, we want gravity to work with this ball. So now we're going with topspin. And so I personally, because I already knew what I was going to try to throw, it was just a matter of figuring out the holes. I tried throwing them with the holes inward and it flew over the fence and it looked awful. Holes outward, like you're throwing your two seam, I grip it with the my two fingers like this, just resting on the top of that little half seam. My thumb is right here. And then I have my ring finger resting on the bottom to kind of hold it in place. So like this. And depending on how, so see now I just spread it open. So if I want to throw something with more arc, like a Clayton Kershaw curveball, if you don't know who Clayton Kershaw is, YouTube, it's going to be more of a rainbow. Bit dangerous unless you time, if you time your speeds. But that's going to be your big looping curveball. Now, if I want to try to throw more like what's called a hammer, then I'll keep these in closer and tighter. And I want to come in and snap my hand through. You want to keep your wrist pretty firm and straight. And you're basically just like karate chopping as you come over. But you want to release it, as opposed to when you're throwing, you're probably releasing like here. You kind of want to release up here and then let it come down. So I'll do 3 of the more looping one, or at least I'll hopefully be able to do the looping one. I haven't been able to do one in a while. And then the hammer ones, those are chase pitches that you normally want to throw just in front of the plate or like at the plate and just have those guys just waffle down. Okay. So we'll do some looping curveballs first. Okay. And I'm trying to throw similar to the drop with this one, trying to aim up high and have it fall into the zone. And so this is just dangerous because if they're waiting on this and you hang it, it's over. Shit, I'm releasing it too far over here. Thank God these won't kill the battery, Oh my God, okay. That hurt my elbow a little bit. The hammer I prefer to use. It's a more effective. It's a more effective pitch than the looping one, in my opinion. Okay, hammer. See? So as a batter, you're seeing this thing come in and it just drops. It just falls off the table. So this acts even more. It's more of a aggressive looping drop pitch than the drop pitch that I was throwing earlier. It's not going to go nearly as fast, but the break is really sharp. At least that's what it should look like on the zone cam, hopefully. Oh, shit. Squeezed it. I squeezed the ball too hard. Remember, these are plastic, so if you get a little too grippy, you can sometimes over grip it. Good pitch. So that's the hammer part of the curveball. In my opinion, I think that whole approach is pretty easy to throw. It's just getting comfortable kind of throwing it earlier than you would with a normal pitch. And again, if you're going to throw that looping one, just make sure it doesn't hang. And then the last pitch that I got for you all is, it's kind of a like trick pitch sort of thing. It's essentially an ephus. So with the knuckle grip, there's people that hold it with their 3 knuckles. My hands are just not that flexible, but they'll hold it like this on the backside because you want this thing to go forward with no spin and have the holes catch the air and drop it down. Jack throws his with the holes to the right, like a slider. And then he holds it like that, and he's able to get movement, a lot of movement. Mickey Janis and a lot of actual like knuckleball pitchers in baseball, they'll grow their fingernails out so they can dig it in, and they hold it like this, which is what I'm going to do with my like EFIS thing. I don't really think it knuckles at all, but what I'm trying to do here is make it look like I'm just going to absolutely gas them. Then you just release it and walk away, and this thing goes. I've clocked my wiffle ball with a who knows how accurate or inaccurate speedometer at 43 miles an hour to 45 on the max. Although I swear up and down, I have it on camera, I hit 50 with these one time, but I haven't been able to do it since. So maybe I dreamt it, I don't know. This thing, I want this thing to go like 19 miles an hour, and that's a big difference when you see that much speed variety. But I'll throw this if I'm just getting absolutely like hammer spanked, or I'm hammer spanking the person I'm going up against as like a pity thing. But I don't know how often I would try to throw this one unless I'm feeling really cheeky. So you're just throwing it like a normal fastball, but when you release it, you're kind of like just half-assing it at the end. It's the best way I can explain it. Okay. It's nothing special, but I think it'll throw off someone's timing. I know I can throw someone's timing off with it. Oh, I don't know what I just did right there, but that was cool. I don't know what I just did right there, but that was cool. Oh, I thought I pulled it off twice. I don't think it's knuckling, but it's so hard to tell from here. I really don't think it is, though. It's just slow tumbling. That one I saw. It's just slow backwards tumbling. With a knuckleball, you want to push off. Like you're kind of shot putting it, basically, which is so weird. My brain can't handle it. Whoa. Yikes. Okay. And let's do a running up riser. This is so stupid. Running up riser. Hey! I thought I would just spike it in the ground. But yeah, those are the pitches I can throw, more or less. And I don't know. If it helps anyone, fantastic. Or if at least it's a starting point, then fist the pumps. But just go out. I'll sit at home and watch YouTube or whatever, and just sit there and just mingle with the ball, you know? Just kind of mess with it. Work on grips. See, maybe if I threw it like this, and that's how I got my two-seam sinker. That's how I got the riser, the new riser and all that stuff. I mean, it'll come to you. But again, know your limitations, work on what you're good at, and then if you're feeling confident, dabble into the waters. But hey, if you only got a select few pitches, make them really fucking good pitches. If you have a whole variety of pitches, make sure you know how to vary them and all that stuff. But give it a shot. I'll finish off by throwing 2 blitzball curveballs, since that first one sucked. And then we'll call it. Man, I'm out of shape. No. I'll throw it from here, why not? Okay. These are so different. Okay. Anyways, thanks so much for watching if you made it to this point, and all the best of luck. And I'll see you guys next time.